Members, it's time to start again. Please be seated. We've got a quorum. P.S. Esther. Thank you, Chairman. Before the meeting was adjourned, the chairman made a decision, and that is the supplementary notes submitted to the FC, together with the original FC submission, should be regarded as a new submission. And the question asked was whether we would be preparing to submit this as a new submission to the FC. Having spent 15 minutes on this, we will respect the chairman's ruling, and that is the two documents, the original FCR 2012-13-54, the original submission that we have been discussing, as well as the supplementary note, that is FCR 2012-13-54A. The two documents will be regarded as a new submission, and we are asking the chairman for permission to resubmit this. Before we do this, we're going to follow the FC rules. We'll withdraw the original document, i.e. document 54, and then 54 plus 54A will be submitted as a new submission. In accordance with FCR 21, we're going to ask the chairman to exercise his discretionary power to shorten the notice period so that we can examine this submission today at this FC meeting. There are 4 other items in the original agenda. In the light of the priorities, we believe that the one on OALA should be given priority. Therefore, this new submission will be put on the agenda as the first item. Thank you, Deputy Secretary. I would like to exercise my discretionary power to allow you to submit this new FC submission. So let's return to FCR 2012-13-54 and 54A. Let's continue, and we'll start now. Does any member wish to speak? Mr. Wong Kok Heng, Lee Chek Yan, Dr. Fernando Cheung, 5 minutes each. Chairman. I want you to clarify something. Now this is regarded as a new submission, and we restart again. So are you going to start with the 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute rule for questions raised by members? If that's the case, well, honestly speaking, we know that this is going to be a very lengthy process. Without Mr. Leung Kwok Hong submitting motions in his filibustering, so this meeting would draw on, and we can't finish by 8 p.m. today, and there's only one session next week. Well, we did ask all those questions, but if this is a new submission, and if the questions and answer as well as the debate have to start again, are we going to have this forever and ever? Well, I can't answer that question. Procedurally speaking, this is a new submission, just like any submission submitted to the FC. The discussion is open now. It's not 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's 5, 3, 3, 2, 1, something like that. I'm going to follow the same principles that I adhered to last time, but I'm going to be a little bit straighter, because if members keep talking or asking the same questions, well, I hope members won't repeat questions raised in the previous month or the month before that. So that's what I expect. But there are other motions tabled by Mr. Leung Kok Hong under 37A. Those outstanding motions will lapse. he will have to submit his motions once again. I'm saddened, and it's regrettable that the administration led by Mr. Zhang and the PS, well, you have mishandled this. This paper should have been submitted at the end of last month. There should be a notice. It's the 7th of December. You shouldn't have submitted the document, the submission today, so that you are creating a filibustering without actually calling it one. I find it regrettable. I don't have further questions. I've already asked my questions. Once again, I would like to appeal to Mr. Leung Kwok-hong. Please have mercy and do some good. There are 400,000 elderly persons who might be qualified, who are helpless, who are watching TV or listening to the radio broadcast. And now, because of the officials' missteps, we are going round and round in this circle of filibustering. This is most disappointing. So we have today's meeting, and we are going to have only a meeting next week. So without the help from Mr. Leung, we are effectively filibustering. So the recipients are getting 1 month less, and then they are going to get it 1 month later in April, provided that it's approved. If it's not, then there will be another month's delay. So I would like to make an open appeal to Mr. Leung. Put down your knife, because you may think you are not directly responsible, but the victims are harmed indirectly by you. The government is unwilling to budge, and members representing different parties have stated their positions are abundantly clear. So if Mr. Leung seeks an adjournment, or I have written down my amendment, I would ask for an end to the filibustering and to return to the original submission. And now there's no need for Mr. Leung Kwok-hong to do this. We have a new document from the government. That's the saddest part of it. The elderly are helpless, and this has been poorly handled. Well, I agree that this has been poorly handled by the administration. If you make an appeal to Mr. Leung Kwok-hong, why don't you make another appeal to the administration? If that's the case, then 600,000 people would stand to benefit. Mr. Leung Kwok-hong, please respect Mr. Lee Chuk-yan, who has the floor. Well, Ms. Priscilla Leung referred to Solomon's wisdom. The two mothers claimed to be the mother of a baby, and the king ordered the baby to be killed. So let's see who has the heart to bear the sight. Now, Mr. Matthew Zhang, are you willing to give way? Using Miss Priscilla Leung's analogy, you should give way. You should back off. So I would like to invoke Rule 39A to suspend the decision of this particular item. The purpose is to handle the other items on the agenda. My adjournment is about this item only, because our other healthcare voucher, legal aid, and examination fee assistance for the minorities can be handled. So I would like to move an adjournment motion according to FCR 39. An adjournment motion in relation to FCR 2013 to 1354 and 54A in accordance with 39, FCR 39. A member can speak on the motion, but not for more than once, and not more than the time allowed by the committee. Because of time limit, like last time, I would propose that every member should not speak for more than 3 minutes. Members who wish to speak, please press the request to speak button or raise your hands. Alright, so please press the button. Dr. Fernando Zhang. Of course, I support Mr. Lee Cheuk-Yan's motion to adjourn this item so that we can proceed to the discussion of the 4 livelihood-related issue or judicial salary and pay, and we can deal with those expeditiously. Chairman, you have now ruled that the new paper should be regarded as a new submission, and still the government insists that this one must be dealt with first and would not allow us to consider the other livelihood-related FC items. This is despicable. You have a clear chance to do otherwise. You know that we have a stalemate for OALA. You refuse to budge, and you know that it would drag on. Yeah, and you know there's a need to consider those other FC items, including assisting ethnic minorities in paying examination fee, healthcare voucher, and injection in the legal aid fund. But you insist on considering this first item first. I think I have to say this is most regrettable. So Mr. Lee Cheuk-Yan's motion is asking for the dealing with the other items first before we return to the OALA. I hope the pro-establishment colleagues can support this. This is for the good of people's livelihood. I hope the administration would also give way regarding OALA. Let's have a consensus. Don't allow the administration to hinder the smooth operation. Ms. Emily Lau, I support Mr. Lee Cheuk-Yan's motion. Well, I think you have made a wise decision. This is a new submission. I cannot understand why the administration did not think like that. I hope civil servants will not make our people sad. You must be impartial, independent, and just in discharging your duties. If it's a new submission, submit a new submission. The Democratic Party would like us to deal with the OALA submission after we have done the others. Many members have put forth different proposals, but the government is refusing to meet us halfway. So, given the circumstances, I would support Mr. Lee Cheuk-Yan's motion. We are not in favor of, we are not in support of filibustering. So let's deal with other items. And after that, I will ask the administration to find some way to mediate and move on. Mr. Frederick Fung. Well, I stated my position very clearly. When someone said he would filibuster, I said I won't do it. But on the other hand, I would not be exercising any power to stop other members from doing this. You may think this is contradictory, but there are certainly something which is contradictory within the system. Mr. Longhair wants to move amendments, although I may not agree. Well, actually, I won't lend him a helping hand, but I cannot stop him. It seems that the administration is trying to do something about Mr. Leung Ko-hong or the pro-democracy members. You are now putting the other FC items after the OALA item in the hope of creating pressure arising from public opinion, so that people who are in need of the benefits may suffer losses because we are brought down by OALA.
We don't have the power to decide this sequence, and yet you've decided to put those funding approval that will benefit people to the back. And I can't get you to advance these items, and I think your intentions are perfectly clear why you won't advance these items. Mr. Lee Cheuk-yan's proposal will allow us to deal with other funding applications first. They are there to benefit people who are in need, and they should come first. This is pragmatic. And, well, your head, C.Y. Leung, keeps saying that he is there to do something real. He's pragmatic. But I'm afraid I can't agree. The order of the applications flies in the face of what C.Y. Leung said. Mr. Leung Yiu-chung, I share my members' thoughts. Mr. C.Y. Leung keeps emphasizing that the team is there to do something real, and they're not actually doing something real, and they are using the elderly people as a bargaining chip. This has caused public grievance. What good will it do? And some members claim that they support C.Y. Leung, support him in doing something real. If that is the case, then support Mr. Lee Cheuk-yan's motion. Because it's not the case that we don't deal with the OALA. It's just that we will put it aside. We won't deal with it for the time being, and we will deal with other funding applications first. And that is the most important thing. It seems that you are in a way forcing Mr. Leung Kwok-hong and other members to back down. We would like you to deal with other matters first, and this is pragmatic, because that is reality. This is how things stand. Are you so idiotic that you can't analyze the political situation? What good will it come out for you if you refuse to budge? You are not just dealing with the council. How can you make yourself accountable to society? Don't be childish. Matthew Cheung keeps saying that he wants things to be targeted, to be effective. You know that there are groups of people who are waiting for funding approval. You can do that. And yet you refuse to. You are dragging your feet. Why will the administration do that? You say that you want to improve people's livelihood. You want to do something real. But you are just doing one thing and saying another. Please support Mr. Lee Cheuk-yan's motion. Adjourn the current discussion, and let's deal with other funding applications first. Mr. Wong Kok-heng. This is the 7th time when we discuss the OALA. It's been dragging on for a very long time. And because of a bad move of the administration, we have to start a new discussion on a new motion. This is wasteful. Mr. Lee Cheuk-yan proposed to put this matter on hold. 40,000 elderly people have been waiting and waiting. Will putting this matter on hold be fair to them? I think this is a dilemma. We can't make our elderly people wait any longer. They say, if you pass it a day early, I can get it a day early. And if you pass it a day later, I may never see it because I will be 6 feet under. Elderly people can't wait. They are 1 foot in the grave. So if we agree, if we support Mr. Lee's proposal, this motion, when will it come back to us again? So the FTU does not support Mr. Lee's motion. Mr. Tam Yu Chung. On the face of it, Mr. Lee's motion is a panacea, but that is not the case. Some Pan Democrats said that don't be childish, just concede. I think they should say those words to Mr. Leung Kwok Hong, who is being all those things. This is the second motion to adjourn this. It gives the impression that you're just dragging your feet. You propose hundreds of amendments. You propose to adjourn this, and they are all delaying tactics. What good will it do to the elderly people? A lot of old people come to me to ask me what we are doing here. They are angry. They wonder what Leung Kwok Hong's been doing. Chairman, you criticized him. You query why it can't be dealt with. Why is he proposing meaningless amendments? There is a strong view from the elderly community. If we support Mr. Lee's motion, we are sending the wrong message. It gives the elderly people the wrong impression that LegCo does not care about them and let the matter drag on for ages. This is a wrong message. It's just like Mr. Wong Kwok Heng said. We ask Leung Kwok Hong not to do it anymore. Don't drag the elderly people into it. Deal with the OALA first. Those follow are equally important. But we have the view that things have to be dealt with in order, as a very strong view expressed in the last term. Why don't we do it the way it was? It should be done in order. Since the OALA is a good thing, it will benefit 400,000 elderly people. This is a livelihood issue, just as important as the other funding applications. This thing has been dragging on for a long time, over 20 hours. Of course, it will cause a congestion. It's only a matter of time when you see a jam. If you don't tackle the cause of the congestion and you ask to deal with what follows, that is unreasonable, and you're sending a wrong message to the elderly people that we don't care about them, Mr. Leung Kwok Hong. And Mr. Wong Kwok Heng has left the room. Wong Kwok Heng's group think that there should not be any means test for those over 70. But if they don't get it this year, well, a year later, are you only talking about 40,000 people? The DAB proposed 300,000 people. Are you going to pay them back? I've also heard from elderly people that Tam Yu Chung went back on his words. You're supposed to be fighting for the worker, for the underprivileged. You are a waste of space. Are you going to compensate for the 300,000 people who have to go through the means test? Well, if this is endorsed, and an elderly person died, and he could have got it. We're talking about 300,000 people, and some of them would have died. And as a result of the proposal of your endorsement, they will not be able to get it. You are talking about fighting for $300,000 as the cap. And you now ask for Matthew Cheung to give them a small amount of money. And what about those people who cannot get it because of your proposal? Are you going to give them back the money? What are you talking about? She has to shut up, not me. Please, what are you saying? What are you saying? Please talk to me. If the FTU sticks to your gun, and then you can get those over 70 will to be exempted from the means test, then they will be able to benefit. What is she talking about? What is he talking about? Mr. Raymond Wong, please sit down. I think the elderly people say that Tam Yu Chung is a waste of space. What? Are you going to beat me? You allow that to happen? You allowed that to happen? She's been interrupting me. Put your hand up and ask the chairman. I did not say a word when others are speaking. This is not your home. This is not Chang's home. Mr. Leung, please don't bang on the table. She interrupted and you're speaking for her. Your time's up. Next, Mr. James Tien. Chairman. Mr. Raymond Wong. Yes, I know you pressed the button, but it's now Mr. Tien's turn. Those in the public gallery, please be quiet. Let's pause here. And would you please ask a member of the public in the public gallery to leave, because you're interrupting the meeting. Mr. James Tien. Well, just now it indeed was Mr. Leung Kok Hong's time to speak. Other members should not interrupt. And now is my turn. Well, since the administration has withdrawn the $2.5 billion, and they ask for $20 million for the recruitment. And Mr. Vincent Fang asked the question, but this is not to be done now. It's going to wait till April. Then why will you? I don't see the urgency to ask for funding approval of the $20 million to recruit people. Well, since the main part is not to be passed, I do think that other funding applications will have a bigger urgency than this one. If Part 8 is excluded, there is only Part B. An approval of Part B serves no purpose because you have to wait for next year before the main part is passed. I do think that if that is the case, we can first deal with other funding applications. The controversy of the other applications will be low. I think we will be able to deal with them all before we finish today at 10 past 8. And if we deal with deal with this document and the amendments of Mr. Leung Kwok Hong, we won't be able to finish today. we should support Mr. Lee's motion to deal with the other applications first, so the Liberal Party will support that. Next, Mr. Michael Tian. Chairman, I think that an efficient and just society should deal with urgent matters first and not take the easy route. That is the same for a business. Of course, so if you're a manager, you will sign the sheet on top. But perhaps the most difficult task is the most important. We all know full well that every month 400,000 elderly people will receive more than 1,000. And to me, that is of utmost importance. And if we put it on hold, and I don't know whether anyone will filibuster on the other items. Is it the case that every time there is a filibustering, we will put it on hold? If we all think that this is important, well, then we have to think, what is the reason why the others are not discussed? This is not a rational discussion. This is not that we're at loggerheads when it comes to voting. We haven't even reached that stage yet. It's because of a person or two who keep proposing meaningless amendments. If we back down, if we support the proposal to put it on hold, that means whenever someone disagrees, well, I will put it on hold because I don't want to discuss it. I will propose to put it on hold. Otherwise, I will filibuster. And during filibustering, then the proposal to put it on hold is passed. Then nothing gets done. What kind of society is Hong Kong? Because, well, in this case, if that is the way, right becomes wrong. If we quickly finish the OALA, we will have time to deal with other applications, and we may finish everything today. This should happen, but for a handful of people. And now someone asked for an adjournment of this application. I don't support it at all. Mr. Raymond Wong. There is always a time for everything. Don't switch ideas. Michael Tian, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? A chaotic society. It's because of you people. We are talking about the cause, the root. Those over 70, why do they have to be subject to this mean test? This is a struggle, Mr. Tian. You born with a silver spoon in your mouth. Do you know that this is a struggle? You're saying that a handful of people are making trouble, filibustering, but that is allowed in the ROP. There is a procedure to be followed. This is a procedural fairness. Do you understand this? You were educated in the US. There is always an order and a time for everything. And now someone asked to put this on hold, and someone asked for those to be advanced, and someone talks about let's deal with the easy task first, whereas others say let's deal with the difficult ones first. You said we are condoning other people. I think you share the same view as Matthew Zhang. I want to stick to my gun. What can you do to me? You can just badmouth me, saying that I don't care about the elderly. But you yourself, you are hypocritic. You first said that you don't support the means test, and the same goes for FTU. You objected to the means test, but you back down. You succumb to the proposal. You said, well, let's just get whatever we can first. And it's because of people like you who condone, who connive. And then you just label us. We are here to protect the dignity of the elderly people. So those people who are 70 years old, well, in the past there was a proposal to increase their OAA, and then there was means test with fruit. We heard a banana, and that was withdrawn. We're talking about political struggle done in accordance with the ROP. You think I want to sit here and waste my time here? He doesn't want to do it either.
But then, within the limits of the ROP, there's nothing he can do. He has to act in a just manner, and he can only reluctantly allow Leung Kwok-hong to filibuster. Of course, there is a simple way out. Just kill all of us. May I remind you, Mr. Wong Young-man, I know you're walking out. I hope we can respect one another. Since we have a motion under Rule 39, I hope we can confine to that motion. Well, Chairman, they were insulting us in their remarks. Well, I hope we can refrain from using insulting an offensive language, and I hope we can remember to act decently. It's now 6 o'clock. We will break for 10 minutes.